Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen, the lead handicapper at WinnersandWhiners.com, and it is Winners and Whiners Radio, everybody, Wednesday edition. Welcome to Winners and Whiners Radio. Give us an hour, and we'll give you the winners. And speaking of winners, it's our favorite Brooklyn Nets fans, everybody. You know him, you love him. He is senior handicapper at WinnersandWhiners.com. He is Scott Reichel. Scotty, how about those Nets?
Well, people on YouTube know that I tend to wear collared shirts, but I made an exception in this case to dress down a little bit. I got on my Nets jersey representing. Very, very big win. We'll get into that in a little while because I don't know how we're not going to talk about this game from a variety of angles. But definitely saved my sports night because, damn, the Islanders got outplayed. So at least one of my teams won in the playoffs yesterday.
Not good. Not good. What were the final shot stats on that? Did you see it?
They got outshot by a lot. But I said on the air yesterday, my favorite play in that game was the Islanders under 2 goals flat at plus 107. They had won with about 4 minutes to go. They scored, so they ended up with 2. But I thought Tampa would win. They got outshot 37. Shot attempts. Yeah, so it was 33 to 26. It actually wasn't as big of a disparity, but Islanders also pulled the goalie a couple times late, so they got a couple shot attempts on at the end. But Tampa, once the too many men on the ice penalty was completely ignored, and Tampa scored the second goal, it's kind of one-way traffic at that point.
Yeah, not good, not good. And we want to welcome, of course, all of our radio listeners. We want to welcome all of our YouTube viewers. We're doing a kind of a simulcast on the YouTube channel. And by the way, if you want to get even more of Scott and I, you're not getting enough on the radio, you're not getting enough from this YouTube video, make sure you stop by our YouTube channel, Winners and Whiners, and check out our daily videos. Scott and I each do a free pick each and every day. We put it right out there. It's free, Scott. How about that?
No, not much to add.
Okay, very good.
If you need another reason, check out a site and free information's not enough for you, I don't know what to tell you.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And, of course, we are selling premium picks over there at Winners and Whiners. I've got my premium picks. We've got a couple of other great handicappers that have premium picks available. So
you got the Dominator if you want some totals.
That's right. And we've all been on pretty good runs lately. So it's been a lot of fun. So Scott, let's get it fired up here, shall we? We'll talk about the ones that didn't go like we thought they were going to, Scott. I can't imagine what we're going to talk about here in this one. This is the plays where you had a winner all up until the time that you didn't, everybody. We've all been there. We all know how it works. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. There's nothing you can do. Cry in your beer and call the cops. Pull over, boy. Pull over. Well, Scott, let's get it started. We've got to talk about it. And, speaking of premium plays, I'll admit it. This was a premium play for myself and my clients, and it didn't go the way we thought. It was you're going to talk about that. You're going to do that one. Okay, let's start in baseball. Oh no. Okay.
I already switched it around the dock. You do.
All right. I forgot. Yeah, I forget you had it set up for the glory. It's the Bucks, everybody. This ended up closing. Bucks ended up getting points. This swing was pretty dramatic, Scott. It was all the way up to Bucks -4. And then we found out James Harden was going to play. Wow. That made a 5.5 point difference, Scott.
I can't believe he played 46 minutes. He was terrible, but he played 46 minutes. I really didn't see that coming.
Not good at all. The Bucks were absolutely dominating in this game. They were up 16 points at halftime. And then, Scott, what happened? It was the second half, and that did not go well. Kevin Durant was a monster. We're going to talk about him a little bit later, but all you need to know is the Bucks kind of folded their tents there in the second half. Brooklyn was able to get really close after the third quarter, put it away in the fourth quarter. They win by 6. If you had the Bucks +4.5, -4, -3, -2, any of those, yeah, it was no good. It was time to call the cops.
Definitely an interesting second half there by Budenholzer and company, but we'll talk about that in a little while. Moving on to baseball, if you had the under in the Orioles-Indians game at 9.5, kind of a questionable line you might have gotten because it was at 9 at some point. It was at 9.5, so hopefully you ended up getting 9. But if you had the 9.5 on the over, you had a pretty bad beat because you had 8 runs going into the bottom of the 5th. Matt Harvey doing Matt Harvey things, getting shelled like normal.
He's so Harvey.
Quantrill was actually pretty good, which was surprising. But either way,
He's usually still Harvey also.
You need 2 runs in the final 4 innings. And
that
you
should
think
be
to
easy.
yourself, I can probably handle that. And they did not. Game ended 7-2. So you had 8 runs going into the bottom of the 5th, and you ended up with 9. Ouch. That's a pretty bad beat there in baseball.
That was a 7-2 Indians win, right?
Yep.
So you had 8 going into the bottom of the 5th. So you had all of the 8th, all of the 7th, all of the 6th. So you had 8 more at bats basically to get 2 runs.
Well, because Cleveland was the home team, so of course they were not going to bat in the 9th. But I said the bottom of the 5th, so you did have 2 full innings of work. Or it's 4 full innings of work. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
rambling. It was a bad beat.
Okay. Yeah. 8 shots is what you had.
Yep.
I was gonna let you work the math out.
I was going to, but whatever.
Trust me.
I realized it wasn't worth the effort.
Trust your elders, brother. I'm not going to steer you wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, how about the Rangers Astros under 8.5? Surely you're going to get well here, right, Scott? 2-1 going into the bottom of the 9th. What could possibly go wrong? Well, if you have to ask, you didn't watch it because the Astros tied the game at 2, bottom of the 9th. Okay, fair enough. No, this is 2021, baby, and no under is safe regardless of the inning you are in. And that was absolutely the case here. They put up 5 runs in the 10th. Rangers scored 1. Astros scored 4. How did they do it, Scott? They did it with style, didn't they?
There was a walk-off grand slam, so there was only one outcome that could have happened for you to lose, and you lost.
That's right. They had the Astros score all 5 runs.
They scored 4. No, because Texas had a 1-run lead. So the point is, Altuve hits a single, a double, a triple, anything, you win.
Yeah, it's 3-2 going into the bottom of the 10th. They've got the bases loaded. You've got to keep it under 9, basically, or under 8.5. So 9's a loser.
Yeah. Keep it in the ballpark.
Keep it in the ballpark. The only thing that can hurt you at this point, it's Altuve. He's like 5'2". Come on. I know he's got power. He hits. I know he hits home runs. Crushed it. You know who else crushed it, Scott?
I'm going to go with Yastrzemski.
Yeah, we were just watching that as we were doing rehearsal. And, boy, the poor Diamondbacks, they thought they finally had it. They had an 8-5 lead in the bottom of the 8th.
They've lost 21 straight road games.
You could call the cops on that one, too. If you had the Diamondbacks, well, God bless you and your optimism after they've lost 20 straight road games for taking them to win in this one. That's a honorable mention for call the cops. We kind of had the sheet done before that happened, but that's call the cops right there.
I'm going to give a shout out to the Diamondbacks Twitter because they've been on a really, really fun self-roasting process for the last couple of hours. They posted the final score with the caption "Everything hurts," and after the home run that they gave up, the grand slam blowing a 3-run lead, they had the caption, quote, "You got to be kidding." I give them props, man. You lose 21 straight road games. You got to just embrace the tragedy at this point.
They're lacking in many things, but self-awareness isn't one of them.
The social media team, I'll give them an A for the night.
Oh, they're last in the National League, first in social media. Congratulations, guys. Well, Scott, let's talk about some good news. These are the games that went exactly the way you planned them. You got out to an early lead. Nothing happened. No 10th inning shenanigans. Everything was exactly the way it should be. You could just sit back, take a little rest, Scott, have a drink, have a cigar, maybe even take a little quick nap because you were sitting in the rocking chair.
And the first one that we're going to be talking about was in baseball between the Marlins and the Cardinals. If you had the under 7.5, you were in good shape. 1 run in the 3rd. 1 run in the 6th. Wait a second, what about the other innings? Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Anyway, it was 1-1 going into the 9th. And then the Cardinals ended up doing you a favor. You did not have to worry about the Rangers and Astros extra innings bonanza. Instead, Goldschmidt decided, let's let the fans go home early. Walk-off home run. Game ended 2-1. And if you had the under 7.5, it's pretty easy when one team only records 3 hits.
I had the Marlins right there, my friend. The Marlins were my clients.
Well, Rodgers was good again.
Rodgers was just outstanding. What a great staff that is. Just unbelievable. They have no offense.
I know by the time that this airs, the game already happened, but you have Alcantara against Oviedo on the mound tomorrow.
Take a look at that too. If you that's I hate Oviedo. Well, you know what?
By the time that this airs, the game's already going to be taking place. But still, point is they got a lot of good pitchers on that Miami staff.
Yes, absolutely true. So, Scott, let's stay in the major leagues. We have the Nationals team total over 4.5. You didn't have to wait long. You could take a long nap because the Nationals came out, scored 5 in the first. So, very, very fine job right there. Finished with 8. But you didn't have to worry about 8. You didn't have to worry about any of that because you had the Nationals team total over 4.5, and you were sitting in the rocking chair.
I'm trying to think of, in terms of speed running victories, like what it's the fastest win of the day. Nationals team total is probably on short list there.
That's hard to beat right there. It really is.
How long do you think you were watching that game for? 15 minutes? 10 minutes?
Maybe. And if you invested 15 minutes, that's 15 minutes. That's all you needed to invest because the rest of that game was awful.
Yeah, just throw out their other 3 hours. You're good to go. But looking at the last rocking chair win, if you had the Red Sox and the Braves over 9.5, you were in good shape. Red Sox scored 4 in the top of the first, which is a good start. 9 runs in the first 4 innings for both teams combined. So you just need one more run.
Yeah.
It was not the Orioles and the Indians. They
right.
2 runs in the 5th. So you're already good less than halfway through the game. And the game ended 10-8. So if you had the over 9.5, they doubled the 9 for you.
Just about doubled it up. Yep, absolutely true. So very good right there. 3 good rocking chair wins. Scott, what was your play of the day yesterday?
My play of the day was also a Call the Cops honorable mention. I had the Nets team total under 108.5, and they had 43 at halftime. So I needed to avoid 66 in the second half.
You didn't.
Harden scoring 5 total points. The Nets scored 71 points in the second half, and I picked up a loss.
So let's talk about that game, shall we? I know you lost the play.
I'm going to save it for therapy, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I know that you lost that play. I actually hit my play of the day. My play of the day was the over in the Washington Pittsburgh game, the one that we just talked about. And Washington did all of the heavy lifting there. You know who didn't suck tonight, Scott?
Corbin.
Yeah, Pat Corbin. Pat Corbin did not suck last night. That's an astounding feat for me.
Well, that's why the Pirates are last in runs per game.
Yes, they are. And that was well earned. That's why that was kind of a hero play, taking the over there.
But we both talked about it last night. How in the pitching matchup, it was at 8 at the time. Like you had to take the over, and that's
yep. Yeah, we got it at 8 when we did the video, so it went to 8.5. But so Durant, Scott, pretty darn good player. According to Giannis, he's the best player in the universe.
Yeah, he's set on the planet right now.
On the planet, sorry. So there could be
the Monstars
situation
here and there, but yeah.
So, in case you didn't see his final line, he finished with 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 dimes, 10 assists, 12 of 14 from inside the arc, 4 of 9 from beyond the arc. But Scott, here's my question. Harden had a great game. I mean, Durant had a great game. No question about it. 49 points, fantastic. But did this game really turn on Jeff Green pouring in 27 after averaging 11 during the regular season, going 7 for 8 from three-point land?
Well, as a Nets fan, I can tell you how good Jeff Green has been all season long. He's been phenomenal. Now, of course, he missed the first couple of games in the series with plantar fasciitis. Then he came back, and I thought it was a huge situation for him being back. I thought that was a big deal. And Durant took over the game, I'd say mostly in the second half. I don't remember how many points he had in the first half. I want to say it was like around 16 or so. I think he had 33 in the second half.
Okay.
In the beginning of the third quarter onward, Jeff Green, I believe he hit his first 7 threes of the game before missing the last one.
Yep.
I don't want to say he kept the team in the game, but he did a pretty good job at providing at least another option for the Nets because Harden couldn't hit anything last
night. That's my point. I know Harden went 0 for 8 from three-point land.
0 for 8 from 3, 1 from 10 from the floor.
Yeah. No, so if you put Harden and Durant together and say they're going to score 54 points, you go, okay, that's about right. But so they each get 27. The 27 you didn't see coming was the 27 from Jeff Green.
Yeah, Green was great.
I would posit that he was the difference maker in this game.
I would say he was the difference maker because he kept the Nets in it. But, of course, when it was closing time, you better believe Durant was going to close.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So is it a situation where it was a great performance by the Nets, or was it a terrible performance by the Bucks?
I think it's a mix of both. Now, of course, it's a cop-out, but if you're going to have a great comeback, you need a great collapse. It's just the way it is. But you look at the Nets, I'm going to give them props for hanging in there. It looked really bad. And you could have made an argument that after Harden played 22 minutes in the first half, didn't really seem like he had any injury setbacks. He just looked awful throughout the entire game.
Right.
I don't want to say the Nets thought about maybe throwing in the towel there, but maybe you think to yourself, this game's not meant to be. Maybe we should just bench Harden, keep him healthy for Game 6.
If that game's on the road, it's over.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So a part of me thought that it was a home game. The Nets would still try to hang in it, see what they can do. Like, give me a good 5 minutes out of halftime, and we'll see what happens. But if it would have ballooned up to 20, 25, Harden's not playing the fourth quarter.
No way. No.
So I think that the Nets did a good job after halftime. They made a lot of great adjustments. But it goes back to the point that we've made numerous times on the show and a point that I've made for years. Budenholzer can take his Coach of the Year trophies and throw them straight in the garbage. Because I don't know what he's doing in his entire career. I don't know what he is thinking about in playoff basketball, but he's going to get fired. If you could fire a coach mid-series, they should just ship him off and they should leave him in Brooklyn. Just leave him there.
You think I just get this picture of the sad Budenholzer walking out of the building carrying his box of stuff from his desk. His 2 Coach of the Year awards are sticking out of the top.
That's what I should pick. That's what I picture as well. But I don't know how you can talk about what Budenholzer did in the second half or what they didn't do in the second half. My question for you is, we know Harden offensively was terrible. He also can't really move. Now, was he a good defensive player before the injury?
No, he was not.
Why are you not going at him every single possession? Why not? Why are you not running pick and rolls with Harden every single possession and just destroying him in the pick and roll?
You know what? You can say that, and there's some legitimacy to it. But he D'd up when it counted at the end. He did a nice job cutting off Giannis there on the baseline and kept him from making the go-ahead shot.
I'm just saying that's one possession where a fact that Giannis had the size advantage, the speed advantage, and everything, and he settled for a fadeaway jump shot over an injured James Harden with less than 2 minutes to go. Good shot selection there, Giannis. Well done. But it just goes back to my point, though. You're talking about what the Nets were doing offensively, which was give the ball to Durant, everyone get out of the way. By the way, Jeff Green's in the corner if you need him. That's kind of the entire offense for the game. I don't know how you don't just have Giannis set screens with whoever James Harden's guarding and then just give the ball back to Giannis, have some fun. But you have to go at Harden every possession. And at least let Holiday – I'm also going to blame Drew Holiday for it because he wasn't aggressive enough. But you knew where they should be going on offense every possession, and they just didn't do it. And every time Harden was I'd say, matched up with Middleton or with Holiday on the perimeter, they blew by him whenever they wanted to go to the rim. You had Jeff Green at center. Like, come on, do something. Get to the rim.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with.
But do you have any other points you want to make? Because that was most of my main takeaway. Offensively, I just don't know how you didn't go at Harden for about 44 minutes out of the game.
Yeah, that's legit. You know, this is a Milwaukee team. If you look at the stats, they shot all right, Scott. They shot 40% from downtown. They shot almost 50% from the field.
Now, I don't have the actual numbers percentage-wise comparing the first half to the second half. I know they played a lot better in the first half, of course, but I'm assuming those percentages all took a massive dip in the second half.
Well, I mean, it wasn't there. The problem is they didn't do enough in the first half. I mean, because they put up 59 in the first half. That's fine, but they put up 49 in the second half. Not ideal, but not awful. I mean, it's not 35 or something ridiculous in the second half. Like,
well, if you consider
38 the other night.
If you consider an average NBA quarter for a team 25 points,
right,
then they still went well below 50 for the second half. They didn't play well at all.
At 49.
They had 49 in the second half?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said 42. I thought you misspoke.
49.
Okay, my bad. I thought you misspoke. Yeah, okay. So offensively, they were okay in the second half.
Yeah, they went 59-49.
I just still think that at some point you got to just realize who you're against, to realize Durant and Green are the only guys beating you.
Yeah.
I know Harden is an all-time great player. Not tonight. You probably should have triple-teamed Durant at half court.
Why do I keep hearing how good this Milwaukee Bucks defense is?
I made a case for them because according to defense efficiency
Oh, that's
rating,
where I'm hearing it.
yeah, they were number 1 in defense efficiency rating going into this game, but yet Giannis did not guard Durant pretty much at all during the game. Maybe after the first 40 points against PJ Tucker, you might want to throw somebody else on Durant.
Well, let me tell you something. If you're going to give up 71 points and a half, I'm sorry, you're not the best defense in the NBA.
That's fair. And I do think that PJ Tucker is a good defensive player. But at some point, you got to realize we need another guy on him. We got to try something. Like, at least let Giannis's length try to give him some issues. But no, they just kept doing the same thing, expecting different results, and Durant killed them. Pretty much what happened.
I'm not sure why PJ Tucker is playing. If he's not going to guard the best player, I'm not sure why he's out there, because he's not going to score. You know that. And he literally did not score in this game.
Well, that's the thing, is that if Tucker's going to continue getting shelled, then you're probably going to see more Forbes in the future. I still think you need Tucker to play, solely because even if he can't stop Durant, nobody can. At least he can be physical with him.
Right.
Pick up a couple fouls, but potentially can frustrate Durant like he did in game 4, which I guess is your whole goal. But I do agree, if Tucker is not going to stop him, you shouldn't even have him on the court.
Well, he did end up with five fouls, so it's not like he was, saving them.
Yeah, at least he used them all.
Right.
So
yeah.
He had 5 more fouls than points, but still.
Yeah, no kidding. Does it make you feel good that you and PJ Tucker scored the same amount of points tonight?
Feels great. How much is he getting paid?
A lot more than you are, my friend.
Yep.
For this, do you think he made more tonight than you'll make this year?
Yeah.
Probably so.
I think so.
If he made more than you and I put together.
That would not surprise me. PJ Tucker, very avid shoe collector, so I'm sure he's made a lot of money.
Good to know. All right, my friend. Well, any final thoughts on that one?
I thought that was probably the most impressive playoff performance by a non-LeBron player in a long, long time. I can't think of another comparison. You can mention any of the Doncic games against the Clippers, and I would say that that's a fair point. But I don't even know. I mean, that had game 1 LeBron, like the J.R. Smith game, vibes to it, where LeBron goes for 50 and they're about to pull off this massive, shocking win. And, of course, it didn't work out in that situation. But for a non-LeBron performance, I mean, Durant put up just an anomaly. It's never happened before with the stat line. Nobody's ever had 50, 15, and 10 in a playoff game before. And he had 49, whatever, 45, 15, and 10. He had 49, 17, and 10. It's never happened. So I can't even think of a comparison. Can you think of an outstanding playoff game by a non-LeBron player that even's in the same ballpark as this? Because I really can't.
Michael Jordan, 63.
And they lost that game too.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're going way back. You mentioned maybe the Lillard game against Denver, but they lost that game too. I just don't know. That was an all-time great performance by an all-time great player. And people may make the argument, oh, Durant can't carry a team, Harden had to play, whatever. That was unbelievable what Durant did yesterday. And I'm not saying that the Nets are a lock to win the series, because I still think Milwaukee's live too. We can talk about that a little bit later. But that was just – he's the best player on the planet.
All right. Very good. We thought we were going to be able to go a day without talking about this.
We can, because pitchers keep bringing it up.
But we can't. We can't do it. They keep bringing it up. Glasnow, ace. You can call him the ace of the Tampa Bay staff, yeah?
Yeah, easy.
Hurt his elbow, Scott. Bad elbow injury. UCL. Not good. Not good at all. He ended up on the IL, of course. Probably done for the year. I think I haven't read a lot about this, but I did see UCL, and that's not good.
See, unfortunately, you spent all your time doing meniscus research. They didn't have time to search up the UCL, so you're on your own for this one if you're in the audience.
I'm sorry. That's my fake doctorate. My Facebook doctorate degree only goes so far, guys. Sorry, but he had an interesting take on why this happened. Scott, would you like to fill the audience in on who he blames it on? Is it me? Is it you? Is it the fans in Tampa? What is it, Scott? Is it those Yankees?
Well,
Damn
no.
Yankees.
He's blaming it on Rob Manfred. His wife
Oh,
is on Major League Baseball because he is claiming that the sudden crackdown on the foreign substances being allowed or now being prohibited caused him to change up some mechanic stuff and to change up his routine. And as a result, he injured his elbow. Now, blaming the commissioner is kind of the in move in baseball, so I kind of respect it in a way because everybody hates Rob Manfred.
it's trending, as they say.
It's really trending. But do you have any thoughts on this? I'll let you go first. Do you think there's any legitimacy to his claim?
Well, I was reading a couple of Twitter threads tonight, because I'm a child, and
They're fun.
there was a couple of ex-major league pitchers that made the case that what they brought up was, they knew about this many years ago.
Yeah, I said on air yesterday the only reason why they brought up is because scoring is down and the ratings are terrible.
Correct. You could have transitioned, and that's what they suggested, was transitioning into like scuffing up the baseballs beforehand or putting, because they put there's a place, the story on the mud they put on the games.
I do not know that story.
There is a they rub the baseballs with mud before every game, every game, because it comes out of the box, it's shiny, right? Mm-hmm. So every one of them gets, and I think I'm not mistaken here. I know somebody, if you're watching on YouTube, I know somebody will put it in the comment section. I know there's people in radio land that know the answers. I believe it is from a place in Mississippi, like the banks of the Mississippi River, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It's a very specific place, and they put mud on them. They've done it for, I think, all of my lifetime.
And you're saying that they should also put other stuff on the ball before?
Correct. They could have, because what we talked about yesterday, Scott, is this is a widespread situation. This isn't just Trevor Bauer. This isn't just, and we've poked fun. We've talked about the San Francisco Giants staff, how they seem to have undergone a dramatic increase as far as the quality of their starters here the last year. But it's widespread. These guys are all using something to get a better grip on the baseball. Baseball as a sport could have done something about it. They could have made some changes to increase the grip, because here's the deal. Nobody bitched about it because the batters actually liked it. Because why, Scott?
They don't want to get hit in the head. You
don't want to get hit in the head. Exactly right. So you want a pitcher that can be able to control the baseball. But when the spin rate started changing, that's the other thing, is we don't know what they've been like, because, up until, I don't know how long they've had StatCast at all the stadiums.
Like a launch angle. If you try to find it from 1990, you're not going to be able to.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So baseball could have done something about this. Now, as far as Glasnow and his individual injury, I don't know, Scott. I don't know if you can blame it on one start. Is that what he's saying? He's tried to make the transition over one start. How many starts did this happen?
No, one. It's his first start since the crackdown happened. So he's saying he had to change up his routine.
So he didn't try. He wasn't like throwing side sessions. He wasn't trying to break himself of it before. He went one game where he had full grip. Next game he's got no grip.
As far as I know, I don't know the exact details regarding that point. It's a good point to make. But my hot take or hottish take of the situation, I agree with him. I think Glasnow's right. And it goes back to my point yesterday, which was if you're going to change it, Glasnow's main point was, I'm okay if you want to change it.
Yep.
Change it during the offseason.
Yep.
And that was my point. You can't go midway through a season, have a bunch of random stats, and have batters being used to seeing spin rates up the wazoo, and then suddenly a day later, everything just reverts back to the way it did like 2 years ago. Like, you can't change it mid-season. That's insane. Or at least wait till the All-Star break. Wait till there's like a week off or something.
Right. And Glasnow wasn't even on the list of players that, because we've kind of talked about it. We've kind of, with a wink and a nod, we've mentioned guys and kind of have a raised eyebrow.
But we've mentioned players, but we've said that it's probably 75+% of all pitchers use it. So the actual concoctions, we don't know how much is shared and all that stuff, but something I'd say almost every pitcher uses. So I agree with Glasnow's point. I went to the point when it came to the fact that I'm okay if you want to change it. Do it when you have a fresh slate and everyone's record is 0-0. So I was fine with them keeping it for now and then going back to whatever next year. I still think they should keep the stuff and just rejuice the balls again and have them fight it out. And I think that's a good way to make sure both sides have some edge, and that's how you can make it somewhat competitive.
And while you're at it, let them shoot anabolic steroids. I don't care.
I don't have an issue with steroids either in baseball, so I think it's more fun that way. But point is, I just think that Glasnow has a point because you can't just tell them midway through a season, by the way, everything you've been doing for the last 8 months, throw it out the window in a day.
If you think about this, and I know this is not going to come as a shock to any of you out there in YouTube land or radio land, but we have never been professional baseball pitchers. So anything we would say on this would be pure speculation, but having thrown a baseball and having pitched a little bit in like little league, junior high kind of stuff, I can only imagine, Scott, if you go from the feel, the grip from one game to the next and it completely changes, you are going to change your arm motion. You are going to change how that ball comes off of your hand. I think that's entirely legitimate. Is this the question I have for you? Well, first of all, I have two questions. First, is this going to be something we see more of?
And when it comes to injuries, we have seen a bunch of injuries. Now, I'm not saying that the Scherzer injuries correlate or anything like that, but I do think you will see a couple more injuries, but it's going to be tough to decipher what's caused by just natural occurrences and what's caused by switching unless the player actively says in a post-game interview, this is all because they changed the grip stuff.
Look for forearms, look for elbows. That's what I would say for that.
Now, if you want to make a counter argument and say, well, Glasnow shouldn't have changed anything up, he should have just kept doing what he was doing, the argument would be that he wouldn't have had to change anything if they didn't change the rules midway through the season.
So here's my question as it relates to sports betting, Scott. Overs?
Oh, we've seen the games today, and if you want to actually look at the overs and unders, kind of a mixed bag. You had a couple of high-scoring games, a couple of low-scoring games, which is shockingly how it's supposed to be in baseball. Some games are high-scoring, some games are low-scoring, but I do think if you see totals around 5.5 or 6.5, I don't think you're going to see as many of those as you did earlier in the year.
I agree. I think the markets are going to be slow to adjust, Scott. You've got to really stay on top of the trends. You've got to really stay on top of pitchers that have kind of fallen off the cliff a little bit. Look for them in their next start, whatever. I think this is an actionable trend if we can figure out, who's going to be affected by it. So keep your eye on those totals. Don't be afraid of those overs.
Yep.
All right, Scott. We're going to finish it up in the NFL. We're going to be talking, of course, a lot more NFL as the year goes on. But for now, we're kind of dipping our toe in the NFL waters. Derek Carr yesterday, Scott, big news, said he would retire. He would quit, give it all up if the Raiders decided to trade him. Now, Scott, Derek Carr has been playing football in California since he was in high school, 2008. He played in Bakersfield, lovely, lovely town, Bakersfield. Do you believe that he would actually retire? Do you think he'd really pull the trigger, just give it all up?
I think he might.
20 million plus? Meh.
Well, it's 20 million plus, but you consider the amount of money he's already made. I think he's made, north of 80?
Sure.
So it's not about the money. I think that if he's going to quit, it would be because of family and family ties. You just look at the fact that he's been basically born and raised in California for the last decade plus.
Yeah.
He has a family there. So I'm assuming he's got kids in the school system there. And he probably would just decide, I would rather give it up and just be with my family in a place that I'm comfortable living in than playing football. You
and Derek Carr seem to be confused about where Las Vegas is. It's not in California.
Why did I keep thinking that it was the LA Raiders? Yeah, that's a good point. But either way,
he's close. It's the proximity, the geographical. I mean,
West Coast is what I'm.
So he wouldn't play for the Niners.
Why did I think that they were playing in Los Angeles? I must be out of my mind.
See, that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing I do, Scott. I bring up stuff from the 80s. I call them the New Jersey Nets, things like that. So congratulations. It only gets worse, buddy.
Yeah, my bad. Early set dementia's kicking in, but
he is close in Vegas. I mean, Scott, I worked in LA, and when I was going to bring the family out, we actually put money on a house down in Vegas. I was going to commute. I was going to live in LA during the week and fly home on the weekend. So it's very close. It's not a bad. You can certainly.
I want to say it's like an hour, 2 hours?
The flight?
And what was the flight, like an hour?
Yeah, a little less than an hour from McCarran to whatever were you flying into Burbank or whatever.
Yeah, but my point still stands, not with regard to Los Angeles, but the point of him being used to living in the West Coast. So he's comfortable in that environment, and you can make an argument, well, maybe he would play for let's just say the Chargers. Of course,
Sure.
they wouldn't go after him, but a team that's somewhat in the area. I'm saying that if a team like the Dolphins go after him, maybe then he'd realize, I don't want to pack up and move all the way across the country.
Yeah, by the way, Tua threw 5 interceptions in practice yesterday.
But he was aggressive, whatever that means.
What a great headline.
He was aggressive.
Aggressive Tua throws 5 interceptions. You know who else was very aggressive, Scott? Third-string quarterback for the Raiders.
Nathan Peterman?
Nathan Peterman. He was very aggressive.
He wasn't making bad reads. He was just making aggressive reads. But anyway, do I believe him? I actually do. I think that he would consider leaving, but I think he would consider retiring. But I think the other question that we have to ask is, doesn't matter what we think, would any other team actually be willing to trade for him if there's an uncertainty about whether or not he'd ever actually play for the team?
I think they'd give it a shot. I mean, it's not like chess. It's not like if you take your hand off the piece, there's no takesies, backsies. I mean, if you trade for him, he's like, well, I'm not going. The trade doesn't go through.
Well, you can make an argument, though, that would that impact his market just based on the fact that, let's just say Carr is worth a first-round pick. And
Let's say that, shall we?
Let's say that. And now you just say, well, that sounds fair to me. I'll give you a first-round pick. And then Carr says beforehand, oh, no, like if you trade me, I'm going to retire. Then suddenly, if a team offers him a second-round pick or a third-round pick, I don't even know what the market value would be worth for him at that point.
Yeah,
Zero, because he said he's not going to play for anybody else.
I would think it definitely is going to chill the market for him. I think that was probably his point.
That was the point. The point is the Raiders keep linking him to trades all the fans keep linking him to trades for the last 4 years. And Gruden likes him. Seems like Mayock likes him because he hasn't been moved yet. And he just wants to stay. So I don't know if there's any merit to it, but I actually think he's telling the truth.
I agree.
Maybe I'm just seeing the good in people for some reason.
Okay. Well, we'll see. When somebody says, well, you can play in.
Well, I don't think we're going to see because I don't think he's going to get traded.
No.
So I think this is all just speculation. But I think it's his way of saying, if you ask me another question about this, here's my answer. I think he's getting annoyed of answering the same question over and over again.
How about Derek Carr to the Houston Texans?
If I had that supporting cast, I'd probably retire too. Yeah, because it went so well the first time with David Carr.
Well,
when he set the all-time record for most sacks by a quarterback.
But you know what? You can't blame that on David Carr.
No, that's the point. I'm saying, he had the all-time record for most sacks in a single season?
Yeah.
I don't think the Carr family has very, very fond memories going back to Houston, Texas.
Okay. All right. Very good. I was just curious if the Texans would do a 1-for-1 quarterback trade, because if the Raiders, if they're any home, anybody that would do that, that'd be the Raiders.
If I'm the Raiders, I'd do that in a heartbeat. Give me Deshaun Watson all day of the week.
It's kind of the outlaw reputation of the Raiders. They kind of take the malcontents, the guys that couldn't get along anywhere else. And
now the Raiders would wait for Watson to be found guilty and then trade Derek Carr for him.
That sounds about right.
True outlaw fashion.
All right, so we'll see. Stay tuned for the Derek Carr situation. By the way, guys, you are listening to Winners and Whiners Radio right here. Give us an hour. We'll give you the winners, and we're going to do that right now. Scott, take a look first real quick at the hockey situation. We kind of went long, so we're going to grip it and rip it as we go through the various sports. Canadians, Golden Knights, big time favorite, minus 250, about where it opened up. 5 is your total right there, juiced heavily to the over. We're even starting to see a 5.5 creep in there at the Westgate. It's got Golden Knights absolutely dominated the first game. Anything change in this one?
Well, that was the thing, is that they dominated the game on the scoreboard. But if you actually watch the game, I thought the Canadians actually played pretty well. For about, I'd say, 2.5 periods. I mean, the third period was kind of a wrap at that point, but Canadians outplayed Vegas dramatically in the first, and that didn't matter. It was 1-1, I believe, after one. And then the second period was kind of a similar story, but I thought Montreal actually looked pretty good. It wasn't like Vegas demolished them from start to finish, so I think there's value in Montreal plus 1.5 goals. It's very rare you can find value, especially in a playoff game, with value on the goal line. Not just the run line, but the goal line in hockey. Plus 1.5 goals is at roughly minus 125.
What did you call it? The goal line?
The goal line.
The puck line?
Yeah, I like the goal line.
That's not a
puck
thing.
line, I know. But it doesn't really make any sense because it's a run line, you score runs. It's a goal line because you count by goals. Puck line in hindsight makes absolutely no sense. But I like the Canadians on the puck line. Here's a look in at the end of the day. This team hung tough. You still have Price in net. And at minus 125, getting a goal right in your pocket, I kind of like it. I think that's pretty good value.
It's not bad when your total is 5.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that could be playable. I just think the Golden Knights are going to roll them here.
I thought that was a pretty good stand-up bit, though, on why the puck line's a made-up term that shouldn't exist.
What is the deal with the puck line?
You're scoring goals. You play with the puck. It's not called a baseball one.
Oh, God. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. What's the deal with airplane food?
We'll be here all week, folks.
We'll be here all week. But anyway, I just think there's value because if you're looking at a total that you just said, it's kind of the same premise in a basketball game where if the total's very low, you take the points because you assume you're not going to see many actual scores.
Right.
I don't see that happening in this game. I think this game could finish anywhere from 3-2 to 2-1. So I'll take the plus 1.5 goals.
All right, that's solid. All right, moving on to basketball. Taking a look at the Atlanta Hawks and the Philadelphia 76ers. We watched the Sixers collapse the other night as we watched Joel Embiid basically collapse almost literally.
Had the same amount of field goals as PJ Tucker in the second half.
Oofta. So, Scott, this one opened up at 6.5 at Pinnacle. It's now down to 6 in just about every spot. Are the Hawks getting enough respect here?
They haven't been getting any respect all series long, but I think it was fair because they were getting killed for the last couple of games. But the thing about Embiid is that it's not just a basic struggle. It's not like Durant randomly having an off game in game 4 against Milwaukee. The issue is that Embiid, when you heard that he was injured, you were probably assuming, well, he'll probably average 20-something in this series and be limping around all over the place. Right. I don't think anyone expected him to average about 33 in the first 3 games of the series. No. So I don't know how much of the recent struggles were adjustments that Atlanta made, a bad game, or maybe his knee is starting to have some serious issues because he's playing a lot of minutes.
Well, he even admitted it there that he missed that layup that would have been the go-ahead points because he couldn't get enough lift. So
just saying. So you have to wonder the amount of mileage he's picking up on that injured knee is not doing him much good long-term. So I do have some concerns about Embiid's success moving forward. Now, I know Atlanta did make some adjustments. They played a Kongwu a lot, who I thought actually played pretty well off the bench. But Simmons, we know, can't shoot. He was kind of a non-factor.
Can't shoot, won't shoot.
Can't shoot, won't shoot. I know his stats at the end were decent because he almost had a triple-double. But you can sag off of him and double Embiid in the paint if you need to, and that's been kind of the part of the game plan that Atlanta's been running with. Tobias Harris has been pretty good. Seth Curry's been good. Danny Green missed the last game. I don't know if he's going to be back. I actually think he has a pretty big role in this team. Even if Green isn't exactly a great shooter, the point is if you leave Tybal on the court for 25-plus minutes, you just don't have to guard him. So if you don't have to guard Simmons from the perimeter, and you basically don't have to guard Tybal at the perimeter, can't you just pack it in?
I would think so. Danny Green is out, by the way.
Yeah, so and Green's not going to play, and Tybal's going to get more minutes. So you have some issues with spacing. If you are worried about them double-teaming and triple-teaming Embiid, you can't have 2 of your guards not be able to shoot.
I don't know how a team has that much success with a point guard who doesn't shoot. I just don't. But they do. So there you go.
But if you're talking about the actual spread here, I think Philly's going to win the game.
Okay.
I have a hard time believing Atlanta's going to win this game in Philly, but I do like the under. I think if you're looking at the way that this series has kind of trended, you have seen both teams start to figure each other out defensively. Philly figured out Atlanta's offense about 3 games ago, but it seems like Atlanta finally caught up. And if you are still concerned about Embiid's knee, and he's the only reason why they're scoring a bunch of points, I think you have to look at the under. Totals in the 220s. It seems too high to me.
Yeah, I mean they had the monster in the first game, but everything else. Now 238 in game 3, Scott, 252 in game 1.
But I'm saying you're going through the last couple of games here for the Hawks. They scored 103, 111, and 102 in the last 3 games of this in the last 3 games of the series.
That's true.
I just don't see how 223.5 is really just a sustainable total when you're assuming that Atlanta might have maybe discovered something against Philly's offense.
You play the Hawks under 109?
You could. I think that makes sense.
Okay. All right. I like the Sixers there. I
feel a lot better about the total than I do about the side. At least me personally.
I think you and I are on different sides there.
Okay.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay playing the under. It has certainly been trending that way, but I think Embiid steps up. You know what? Because we don't know the extent of that injury, we don't know how he feels right now. That could go spectacularly wrong. I'll be the first to admit it. It could be an absolute horror show if Embiid goes out. Because what do you do if Embiid goes out, Scott? Who do you play?
He went to the locker room during the last game, so you can tell
Right.
he's getting.
He went to the locker room early in the second half. Yeah.
Yeah. So
or first half, rather. Yeah.
That's the danger that you have taking the Sixers laying 6. If I was going to play it on the side, I would take the Hawks just because I know what I'm going to get. If Embiid goes down or if he's having another off game, Philly's got some serious issues. But I do love the under because if you're going to give Tybalt 20-something minutes and you know that he can't shoot and he's an elite defender, that's going to be a pretty fun time for underbettors.
Trae Young on the injury list. He's probable with his shoulder. That cause you any cause for concern? Obviously, he's going to play, but is his performance going to be affected at all?
Well, he couldn't shoot in the last game, but he had a lot of assists. Just makes me like the under even more.
Okay. All right, Clippers Jazz. Scott, Jazz 2.5-point favorites. That's where it opened. Starting to see a little bit of 3 start to creep in there. 223 is the number. That's gone down just a tick, down to 222, 222.5, whatever it takes.
I like the Clippers. I'm just going to say it.
I think you have to.
Utah at home is really good, and I'm going to give them credit for it, for being a good home team and for Mitchell being great this series, whether he's healthy or not. Was still very good, again, in Game 4. But Paul George looks like he remembered to shoot a basketball or how to shoot a basketball. Kawhi had one of those games, which I was waiting for in Game 4, and he was great. I don't know if Derek Favors is going to be there because Kawhi killed him in about second quarter of that game, the poster dunk. So hopefully Derek Favors actually still alive for this game. But looking at, all jokes aside, looking at this matchup here, the Clippers hung around in those games in Utah. Utah got the job done, but the games were close. And if you think Kawhi could go for another big game, or if Paul George doesn't go, I forgot what he shot in Game 1, but it was atrocious. I think you'd agree the Clippers have a decent shot to win this, and all the momentum's on their side. I don't know how much of a factor momentum actually has with home court, of course, swaying everything in Utah's direction. But I think the Clippers are live. I'll tell you what, I definitely don't want to play Utah minus the 3 in this spot.
Well, let me share a couple stats with you because I know you're the world's biggest Paul George hater. So
I give credit where credit's due, but I look at his track record.
Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, Scott, they're the 5th duo since the merger to each average 30 or to each score 30 or more points in back-to-back playoff games. They've also scored 20 or more in all 11 playoff games to start the playoffs. That's been done 3 times. Scott, you want to take a wild guess on either pair to do it?
Kobe and Shaq.
Okay, there's one. You won't get the other one. I'll say there's your clue. It's earlier than that, and you're not going to get it.
I'm not going to take that much time because I know we're a little bit because we're time pressed.
Yep.
I'm going to go Mullen and Hardaway.
Jerry West, Elgin Baylor.
Okay. I went really, really obscure, and I thought my guess was not that bad.
Not bad.
What? They used to go up and down and score 140 points a game. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely true. So that's impressive as far as the scoring and what they've been able to do. They're kind of next level right now as a tandem.
The point is, of course, Paul George is the X factor because you assume Kawhi on any given game is probably going to play well. Now, I know he injured his knee, I believe, in the last couple of minutes there. So I do wonder if that's a serious injury. He said he's going to be fine, but we'll see. I'm going with the Clippers. I just think that the Clippers are one of the most fascinating teams I've ever seen this season because they seem to punt the first couple games in every series and then just remember how to play basketball. But I can't take Utah. I just can't do it.
Well, for me, the X factor is Mike Conley.
Is he going to play? We don't even know.
He's questionable. So at least he's not doubtful. At least he's not out. So it's possible that we could see Conley coming back in some form. He's got that hamstring injury. So
yeah, because Harden looked really good off of the hamstring injury.
See, that's the thing about a hamstring. If you've ever pulled one, if you've ever hurt one, there's nothing you can do. You can't wrap it. You can't ice it. I mean, you can put a little heat on before the game and loosen it up. But
and Conley's also not like Harden, where Harden at least has some size. Like he can actually bring some other stuff to the table. Conley's a very defensive player who can shoot. But the issue is if you can't get much jump on your jump shot, and you also don't have as much, I'd say, energy or just lift in defensive stance, I don't really know what Conley's going to do with one hamstring out there.
Well, and he's also the guy that facilitates, that kind of makes that offense go. So
yeah, I don't know if you can create much separation if you can't really get much push.
Agreed. So
I don't know if that's going to play a factor, but
all right. So you You like the Clippers here?
It's Clippers or pass for me.
So any thoughts on the total? 222, 222 and a half?
I would look at the under, but I know I like the over in the early portion of the series, but it seems like as the series has progressed, both teams have just embraced the fact it's going to be a war. I'll go with the under.
Okay. All right, very solid. All right, Scott, before we get to our Bet the Farm play, by the way, that is the where Scott and I put our heads together and come up with the play that we like the best. That'll be coming up in just a second, but let's talk a little baseball first, Scott. Of course, being a Wednesday, it's, of course, the part one of getaway day, so we've got a lot of day games. So a couple games that you and I really liked are not going to be on the board. I like the under in the Cincinnati Milwaukee game with Molly and Peralta going. That's a 2:10 Eastern start. We like the Alcantara against Oviedo.
Now, some of these might have aged terribly for the radio show, but you still might get it. But the point is, I also like the Padres tomorrow. You got Snell against Freeland. Padres team total, Padres whatever. Freeland stinks.
I really wanted to put something together on the Mets game with DeGrom on the mound against Robbie Stock, but we've got no numbers. I've been waiting for the numbers all night to come out on that because it's going to be a bullpen day for the Cubs.
I would probably just go Mets to score first. You just assume DeGrom gives you probably the first 3 innings minimum with no runs allowed.
No, that's solid. That's solid. You play first 5 under there. I don't know. Play Mets first 5, something like that.
However, as for the games that we actually have on the card that we can talk about.
Yeah, tell me what you like.
Well, I got to start off with the Giants because the Diamondbacks have officially hit blackjack, and they are not playing cards. They have lost 21 straight road games, which I don't know if that's ever been done before.
It's a good question.
At least in the modern era. I mean, you might have had like the Cleveland Spiders or something, like in the 1905.
Nice pull. If you had Cleveland Spiders on your Winners and Whiners radio bingo card, congratulations, you're a winner.
Well, they do have the all-time record for most losses in a single season.
I know.
That's why I was bringing that up. But the point is that I don't know how you take Arizona. It's just I really can't believe they keep losing. They fired the hitting coaches. Why? How are they still losing?
Does the assistant have an assistant they could have fired? Is there another hitting coach there that could have been purged?
Can't believe the hitting coach didn't encourage the pitcher not to give up a grand slam.
Unbelievable.
To Yastrzemski in the 8th.
Unbelievable.
Crazy stuff. But anyway, I look at the Giants there. You got to fade the Diamondbacks until they actually win a road game. Other than that, once again, we're pretty limited here. I like the Astros on the run line with Greinke against Jordan Lyles. Lyles has been decent lately, but you look at his numbers, they are not good. ERA above 5. That's the Jordan Lyles we know and love. Yep. And you have Greinke pitching for Houston. We know Greinke is, of course, very good. Did not pitch well against Boston in a recent outing. It killed me on that one personally, but he's still a very good pitcher. And Houston, let's be real, they always kill Texas. They murder Texas every year on the calendar. So you're looking at the run line at around minus 115. I like it.
Jordan Lyles was so good to us last year.
He's been good to us for most of the year this year. Been better lately.
He was truly the highlight of our pandemic baseball season. I think he did very well for us. Scott, I'll tell you what's been free money so far, and I like it again in this one. It's the Detroit Tigers over the fading Kansas City Royals. Detroit Tigers have taken the first 2 games at plus money, and they're going to go at it again.
We've recommended the Tigers on both of those games.
Yep, we have, and I'm going to recommend them here again. Brady Singer on the mound for the Royals against one of my favorites, Tyreek Skubal.
If it was anybody but Skubal, I'd be all over this.
He throws a great Skubal.
I'm sure he does. He got great stuff.
Opened up at 140. Again, Scott, it's the mystery because money's coming in on the Royals.
They played 12 times this season. You can flip a coin because both teams are 6 and 6.
6 and 6.
I'll take the plus money.
That's kind of the motto of our show, isn't it? When it's a coin flip, take the plus money.
That game's also at 2:00 though, so we'll see how that ages by the time.
That's right. That's good. That's a good point. So
anyway, I think it's time.
You think it's time?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's do it. It is time for America's favorite segment, Scott. Could we call it that?
Yes, we can.
All right. Fair enough. It is time once again for Bet the Farm. Scott, how did we do yesterday?
We had the Blue Jays team total over 4.5, and they cashed in the first 5 innings. They scored 5.
There you go. That's the official winning tone. And it is time, as we said, once again, everybody, You know it, you love it. Get ready to put your ducats all in one place. It is time for Bet the Farm. Yeah! Yeah! Keep those winners coming. Come on now. Scotty, take it away.
So we're going to be sticking with the Yankees and the Blue Jays, but we have a different play for this one. We got the Yankees on the run line at minus 1.5 runs.
All right.
Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees, 2.31 ERA, 0.87 whip. Of course, you know how good Cole actually is. Has pitched against Toronto twice this season, been very good, 2.38 ERA. Meanwhile, you have Ross Stripling on the mound for Toronto. His numbers are not very good, 4.91 ERA and a 1.38 whip. Now, he has been better lately, but he did pitch against the Yankees already once this season, and he was not good, 8.1 ERA. So, of course, the Yankees have a huge pitching advantage on the mound. And if you want to look at the Yankees' offense, which I have roasted all season long, the offense has actually woken up a little bit. The Yankees have scored at least 5 runs in 6 of the last 7 games. If the Yankees get to 5 with Cole on the mound, I think you'd agree you're in pretty good shape there to cash this run line. I think the Yankees score 5 or 6 against Stripling, maybe even finish with more. But with Cole on the mound, you could probably pencil Toronto win for 2 or 3. Give me a 5-3 final. Yankees on the run line.
I like it. I think that's very, very solid. Scott, can you tell me why the Yankees offense has been better lately? What has changed?
What has changed?
Opposing pitchers don't have any grip?
Yeah, could be. Could be the fact that Gardner actually hits a couple home runs every now and then. But the price on this, though, for Cole run line against Stripling, about minus 120, minus 110, minus 120, depending on we shop around. It's a very good line, and I think there's value on it.
Well, and explain, Scott, the difference between taking the home team and the visiting team on the run line.
Well, the road team, of course, has more value on the run line because you're guaranteed 9 at-bats. Where if you take the home team and you're up 1 run in the 9th, that's a shame. You're packing it up and you're going home. But the Yankees get a guaranteed 9 at-bats. Toronto's bullpen we've made fun of for the last couple of weeks. We think there's value on it. So the Yankees get a guaranteed 9 at-bats. I think they'll be able to get the job done.
Yeah, they play the field up there in Buffalo with the real short power alleys, and I believe once again, Scott, the wind will be blowing out.
Yes, it will be. So the Yankees should hit a couple of bombs, should be able to move the line a little bit, and yeah, we talked about Cole being great. We're expecting to pitch well.
It's 2 in a row for us, right?
I believe so, but I don't exactly recall.
Okay. All right.
Actually, no, I think we lost. We had a bad beat on the Sixers.
Oh, you're right. That's right. That's right. We absolutely had the Sixers.
We've won 2 or 3, but we had a bad beat on the Sixers.
Correct. So that is it for Bet the Farm, everybody. That is your New York Yankees on the run line. What was the official number? Minus 110?
Yep, minus 110.
All right. So take the Yankees on the run line, guaranteed 9 at-bats as they are the visitors. So speaking of visitors, we appreciate you guys visiting us today here on Winners and Whiners Radio. Don't forget to check out WinnersandWhiners.com. It is the #1 site in the world for predictive sports analysis. Each day, people from over 150 countries stop by to get the latest information on their games before making a play, and you should too. WinnersandWhiners.com. Full previews, predictions, every game, always free. So for myself, for the whole team over here at WinnersandWhiners.com, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to drop us a comment. For myself, for Scott Reichel, you guys have a great day. Good luck on all of your plays. We'll see you tomorrow on Winners and Whiners Radio. Take care, everybody.